Well, good evening, everyone. And Colin, thank you so much for the warm introduction. I want to take a quick moment as well to acknowledge some of the individuals who are here. Steve Sharif, thank you for being here. Former president of the Jewish Federation of Edmonton, and as I've come to learn, a Flames fan as well. He'll get back at me for that later. In addition, Stacy Levitt-Wright, CEO of the Jewish Federation of Edmonton, and Dr. Francis Singizer, of course, and Adam here as well, CEO of the Jewish Federation of Calgary, as well my colleagues, MLA Shane Getson, and from across the aisle, MLA Lauren Dack. Thank you all for being here. Before I begin, I just want to provide my personal support to Alberta's Jewish community. Like the rest of the world, I watched the cowardly attack on innocent civilians by Hamas terrorists with disbelief, shock, and complete horror. But I want you to know that Alberta's government stands with you in the face of terrorism, and we will always support Israel's right to exist and defend itself. I know a little bit about the need to fight for your survival. My parents were born and raised not very far from Israel. They are from the small little Greek island of Cyprus in the Mediterranean, of course, and like Israel, Cyprus has struggled for its own security, for its own sovereignty, and for its own independence. And just as Cyprus and Israel are friendly neighbors in the Mediterranean, please also consider me your friendly neighbor from Calgary, and yes, a Flames fan as well. And I want to thank you for the invitation to join you here on Kristallnacht, also known as the Night of the Broken Glass, the evening of November 9th, 1938, marking the shift, as we heard, from anti-Semitic rhetoric to violent and aggressive anti-Jewish measures, culminating, as we heard, with the Holocaust. During the Second World War, Adolf Hitler, along with the Nazi government and military, systematically targeted, arrested, abused, and eliminated people that they described as subhuman. At the top of their list were Jewish people. And between January 30th, 1933, and May 8th, 1945, the Nazis killed about 6 million Jews in Europe. Every January, the world recognizes International Holocaust Remembrance Day, and the Jewish community additionally recognizes Yom HaShoah each spring, reiterating the phrase, never again. As one of my colleagues, MLA Getson, in fact, who's joining us here, said in the Alberta Legislative Chamber earlier today, those who don't know history are bound to repeat it. This is one of the greatest downsides of our human condition, but it's one that we must address head on. In Los Angeles, a 69-year-old Jewish man was beaten to death in the street. In Russia, an anti-Semitic mob stormed an airport to stop a plane arriving from Israel. In Paris, pro-Hamas protesters walked down the streets openly chanting, "Kill the Jews." In Ottawa, protesters held up signs likening the Star of David to the swastika. And today, in Montreal, reports of targeted attacks just outside of a Jewish elementary and high school shootings took place. Over the last 2 days at the legislature, we've held ceremonies for Remembrance Day and Indigenous Remembrance Day. Once again, we are called upon to do what is right in the face of what is wrong and evil and violent. We must do what is right, and I'm here today to show that commitment. As you may know, in September of this year, I announced that Alberta's government will rewrite our social studies curriculum. The current curriculum was last updated in 2005 and is almost 20 years old. And of course, the world has changed a lot in 20 years, and it is important that a new curriculum be developed that gives our students a strong understanding of history, but also a view to the challenges of our society today. In the current curriculum, every student learns a little about the Holocaust. As Minister of Education, I firmly believe we must do everything possible to combat rising anti-Semitism and educate all young Albertans about the horrors of the Holocaust. Ensuring all students learn from one of history's darkest chapters will help us confront hate and prevent similar atrocities from occurring. And that is why I'm proud to be able to be here in front of you all today to announce that Alberta's government will make Holocaust education a mandatory part of the new social studies curriculum. Moreover, Alberta's Jewish community has made significant contributions to the Alberta we all call home today, from the first permanent residents dating back to the 1880s right through to today. The contributions of Alberta's Jewish community have stretched all facets of life: music, medicine, politics, business, sports, academia, and more. But most importantly, Alberta's Jewish community has contributed to a more vibrant, more inclusive and diverse province through the day-to-day actions of being our neighbors, being our colleagues, family, and friends. Tomorrow morning, I will be issuing a formal press release and making it clear to the entire province that all students in Alberta will learn about the Holocaust in our new social studies curriculum, but I wanted to share the news with all of you here today first. We cannot forget the trauma of the past. We must remember and learn from the tragic events of the past, especially today as we are seeing a rise of anti-Semitism across the world. We must never let the atrocities of the Holocaust be forgotten. Only by continuing to learn about the Holocaust will we, as a society, further the goal of never again. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Adam Silver, CEO of Calgary Jewish Federation. It's my honor to be here with my broader Jewish Alberta family, and as well as a parent of three fourth-generation survivors and husband to a third-generation survivor. I stand here on behalf of Calgary Jewish community, and together with Stacy and the Edmonton community, I want to thank you, Minister Nicolaides, and tell you how appreciative we are for you taking this important step to combat anti-Semitism and Jew hatred.
This announcement comes at a time when anti-Semitism has spiked across Canada and around the world. It is crucial that the next generations learn about how hate surfaces, whether it's distortion of Holocaust history or misinformation about Hamas terrorist attacks. Both are rooted in anti-Semitism. And today's announcement demonstrates that the Alberta government is dedicated to fight hate in all its forms. Never again is now. Earlier today, as we sat in the legislature and heard that wonderful announcement, the member statement, there was a strong and clear support of our community in a time of rising anti-Semitism. I will admit, I shed a few tears, as it truly moved me to hear such a strong show of solidarity when our community has felt so alone.
Alberta is one of the foremost leaders in Canada to stepping up against hate, especially anti-Semitism. The adoption of the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism in September 2022 was the first step. A firm commitment to action is being demonstrated by having Holocaust education be a part of the curricula and ensures this history will never be forgotten. Through the work of the Federation and efforts of our colleagues in Edmonton, we know firsthand the impact of Holocaust education. Introducing mandatory placement in the curriculum demonstrates a commitment by our province to ensure the lessons of the Holocaust are preserved and applied as tools to educate young Albertans to be empathetic, caring, and moral citizens.
Minister, please convey to the caucus and to Premier Smith how appreciative Jewish Alberta is to see this inclusion, and how we look forward to working directly with your team on the development of this curriculum. The advocacy on this policy has been a priority for our community with successive governments. We have tried in earnest to get this implemented, and I want to take one final moment to thank Jamie Moseson, who was instrumental in expediting this and getting it seen through to the end.